Hello, guys. Give me 1 second. Hello, guys. Give me 1 second. Awesome. All right, so guys, let me know if you can see me and you can hear me. Hey, everybody. Type a yes if you can hear me and you can see me. I got multiple things going on here. I got my phone going. I got the chat in one window. And I got, yes. Okay, is that a yes? Yes. All right. You can see me, you can hear me. Awesome. Welcome, guys. All right, so I'm glad everything is working on the technology, and you just never know how these things are going to go. And make sure I'm looking at the camera and not looking down at my notes the whole time. So, hello, good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for showing up here. There's always that fear when you go live that it's going to be crickets and nobody's going to show up. So, I was trying to promote it in my Facebook group and also on my Facebook page. I didn't send it out to my email list, but I also posted a thing in the YouTube community chat, whatever that thing is called. So obviously you guys saw it and you're here. So, and also if you're subscribed and you have your notifications on, you probably got a message about this as well. So welcome everybody. I'm glad that you guys can see me and hear me. So where is everybody kind of checking in from? Tell me where you're watching from. If you've been watching me for a while, you already know I'm in Maryland. Let me write that. Okay, I'm in Maryland, and if I have do I have any fellow Maryland people here? We have been snowed in all day, so we've been getting snow since yesterday evening. We got like almost 10 inches of snow. Let's see. You just listen to yourself on the playback. Let's see. Oh, there we go. All right, sorry, I'm looking at some old notes. All right, so we got a lot of people from DMV. All right, so we got Baltimore, we got some other people from Maryland, we got Gaithersburg, yes, with the snow. California, all right, so I'm jealous. Baltimore, North Carolina, Atlanta, we got Maryland, Delaware, South Carolina, Ohio, North Carolina, Texas, Trinidad and Tobago. All right now, sis. I know it's nice and warm down there. So Woodbridge, Virginia. Okay, that's not too far. DMV, Silver Spring. All right, so a lot of Alexandria. We got a lot of East Coast folks up in here. UK. All right, what time is it in the UK? Let's see if it's 6. I only want to do math. If it's in the UK, what time is it in the UK? So thank you guys so much for showing up. I really do appreciate it. We got some folks from Georgia. We got Alabama in the house. So people from all over the place. And hello to anybody watching the replay. So the replay will be up. So let's see, 11 p.m. in UK. Okay. All right. So it's a little bit late there. So thank you for taking the time to show up. We got some folks from Florida, New York City. So all over the place. That's nice. Thank you so much for coming. Hello again to anybody watching the replay. Hopefully I'll get some folks watching this later on. It was kind of like an impromptu thing to show up here live. I want to do more of that in 2019. I'll talk about that in a minute. So thank you for coming. So how is 2019 going so far? We're only 2 weeks in, I know. It's only been 2 weeks, but how is 2019 going so far? All right, got some Canadians in the house. All right. How's 2019 been going so far? Only 2 weeks in, but for me, I'm just glad that 2018 is over. Yeah, if you've been watching my videos, you already know that 2018 was like a roller coaster year for me. It was a lot of ups, a lot of downs. It really was like a roller coaster. It was almost like I didn't know what to expect from week to week, from month to month. And the good thing is that I made it. I'm here. I'm grateful to God that I'm here. And so I'm just praying that 2019 will be one of those years where things just kind of go smoothly. I know we can't control it. It'd be nice if we could. It's not in my control, but I just want a year where things are just kind of like normal, regular, just no surprises. That'd be nice, but we'll see what 2019 holds in store for us. All right, so I've already declared that 2019 is going to be the year of enough for me.
And part of that is because 2018 was just so crazy. And because there were so many ups and downs, it's just like I need things to just slow down and just pause. I don't want to do too many new things. I don't want to take on too many new responsibilities. I just kind of want to take some time to get myself under control, get my emotions centered, get my house in order, get my finances and everything back in order. And so 2019 for me is going to be the year of enough. And it's going to be one of those years, hopefully, where I kind of just do a lot of introspection and just check in with myself and make sure that I'm doing okay. Because a lot of times as women, most of my audience is women. I don't know if we have any guys here tonight. A lot of times as women, we take on too much. We take care of other people, and then we don't look after ourselves the way that we should. So 2019, the year of enough. And somebody else in the comments, Jessie J, is saying that it's a transformation year for her. All right. Absolutely. So make that declaration, set the intention, and when you find yourself getting off track, just remember the word that you set for yourself for that year, for the year. So another thing with me, I have a tendency to be a chronic goal getter, a chronic box checker. I've said this a lot recently. And underneath all of that is like this desire for perfectionism. How many of you guys can relate to that? Have you ever felt like you're trying to be perfect? It's an impossible standard to achieve or to reach, but it doesn't really stop us from trying to do it anyway, right? And so I know I have found myself slipping into that at times, and it has caused me a lot of times to not show up as well as I could. For example, I might decide that at the beginning of the week I want to record 3 videos. Then when the day comes around to start recording, okay, I got a blemish on my face. I'm not in a good mood. The house is a wreck. And I'm like, you know what? Today is not the perfect day to record. So I'm not going to get anything done. And it just stops me from showing up because I just want everything to be perfect, the stars to just be aligned the right way so that I can get what it is that I need to get done. And it just doesn't work that way. Exactly. We're kind of like it's a way of self-sabotage, actually. So I'm working to prevent that. Yes. Do you sometimes feel overwhelmed? Absolutely, Judy. There are lots of times when I feel overwhelmed with just life, the responsibilities of running a household, of working, being a mother, a wife, doing all my YouTube stuff, my blog stuff, all kinds of things kind of coming at you at once. And, that's not necessarily unique to me. I know that we all have a lot of things going on, and we can let that busyness kind of set in and it just takes control of our lives. So 2019, I'm doing away with all that. That's not going to be me this year. And so I'm excited about 2019, and I hope that you guys are as well. So one of the things that I want to do in 2019 is to show up more for my community, show up more for you guys. It doesn't have to be perfect. So what if I got a scarf on my head, or, my makeup is smudged, or, it might be some baskets of laundry or whatever in the background. The important thing sometimes is just to show up. And so I'm trying to go out of my comfort zone, even with doing this live thing here, right? I've always been afraid of live. I don't like live because it's like I'm sort of giving up that sense of control over things. If I'm recording in my house and I don't like something that I said, I can cut the camera off, delete that portion, or I can edit it out later. Can't really do that on live. So it's stopped me from doing things like this. But sometimes you just got to do it. Get out of your comfort zone and do something you've never done before so that you can get results that you never got before. So hopefully you'll see more of me in different capacities this year, but not in a way that it's going to be overwhelming for me. I want to do things that feel good, things that are comfortable, but at the same time, push myself to do some new stuff at the same time. So I hope that sounds good to you guys. All right. So 2018 is past. Just real quick in the comments, let me know, how would you grade yourself for 2018? Like whether it's financially or whatever the case is, 2018. Would you give yourself an A, a B, a C, a D, an F? What grade would you give yourself for the year of 2018? And let's see, Alicia says, I gave up perfectionism and I feel so much better about myself. Amen to that. Thank you, Shakita. Yes, I'm working through the fear. There's always, can be fear there, but I'm trying to work against it. So hopefully I'm doing okay so far. So you guys are dropping your letters in the comments. A few C's, got some D minuses, B minus, B pluses. I haven't seen one A yet. Come on, guys. Anybody had an A for 2018? That's okay. B, C, C minus, B plus. All right. D. Well, here's the thing. Even if it was a C or D, the fact that you're still here and you're showing up on channels like mine, where we talk all about getting your finances together, that's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. So be proud of that. Be proud of the fact that you have given yourself a grade and that you are continuing on the journey. So be proud of that fact. Yes, a time of reflection, reflect on the things that went wrong, what you could possibly do better, and then keep it moving. That's the most important thing when it comes to something like this. Because there are always going to be ups and downs. Every year is not meant to be a year where it's going to be an A. Some years are just going to be a B. But yes, it starts with showing up. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. It starts with showing up. I should put that on a t-shirt. You should put that on a t-shirt. It starts with showing up. I like that. All right. Thank you, Thelma. Thelma says, I love your channel. You help us a lot with your videos. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So what did I come here for this evening? For one, just to kind of chit chat with you guys. That's just one thing. And two, I wanted to do a Q&A to just, a live Q&A because I've never really done one before. I might have done one in my Facebook group. I'm not sure if I have or not. And if you're not in my Facebook group, I'm not sure what you're doing or why you're not in it. But there is a link in the description below if you want to join. It's completely free. And it's kind of a close-knit group, although it's like almost 1,300 people, I think, in there now. A lot of people are inactive, though. They join but don't really interact much. So I'm going to probably be going through and doing some pruning in the group and just, getting rid of some of the people in there that don't really comment. But it is a group of like-minded individuals. We got a few guys in there that are on their financial freedom journey, but mostly ladies trying to get their finances in order. And it really helps when you have a question to just pop in. And it's become one of those things where it's not just about me coming into the group and answering all the questions. It's about some of these ladies have been with me for 3+ years, watching my videos, subscribes, and they will hop in and answer questions for people who are new as well. And so it's kind of a collaborative effort, and we just kind of hold each other up when we have difficulties, and we share our wins and successes. So, hey, LS Hudnell says, love the group. Everyone is so supportive and informative. Yes. Yes. So my Frugal Chic Finance peeps, if you're here, giving you a shout out as well. And if you have not joined, then I recommend that you do. And the link is going to be in the description if you want to join the completely free Facebook group. And I also have a newsletter. So I started the newsletter probably I guess maybe, I don't even know, maybe 2 years ago, but I was completely not consistent at all. In the beginning, you might have gotten an email from me like once every 3 months, if that. But now I'm pretty consistent, and I do mostly a weekly newsletter. And so the link will be in the description too if you want to sign up for the free email list. And I do have a new venture, which is the accountability group Beyond the Budget. And so for 2019, I know there are a lot of people who want to move beyond the budget. You're at a position where you're like, I'm tired of dealing with this budget. I am tired of being stuck, tired of struggling with my shopping habits. And I really need to do something different. Like I said, in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018, that I was going to get it together. And 5, 6, 7 years, whatever has passed, and there have been no changes. And so this group is for you if you're interested. There's also a link to that accountability group. It's a group where I'll be showing up monthly live, kind of like this, doing some workshops, doing some budget stuff, doing some investing workshops, and all of it will be included in your membership if you decide that you joined. And if any of my Beyond the Budget folks are here, say hey. But that's something that I'm excited about in 2019 as well. So it's a program that's designed to kind of get you guys, or whoever's in the program, from that point where you're stuck with the budget to the point where you're hitting your goals, you're investing, and you're starting to build wealth. So let's see. Judy says, is this Facebook? Are you talking about the accountability group? So we do have I just added a Facebook group, but it's actually not really linked to Facebook. It's actually built out on Teachable. And I have a webinar platform where I do live workshops. So, hey, BTB students, yes, absolutely. Charities in the house. All right. So we got lots of folks here. All right. So, yeah. So it's not necessarily just on Facebook, Judy, if that's what you're asking about the accountability group. That's just a small portion of the program. The biggest part is the live workshops, which are not at all linked to Facebook. And yes, you can join anytime. So it doesn't, just because we launched it in January, that doesn't mean like you have to get in January. It's going to be something where it's open enrollment. You can join really at any time you decide you want to join. So think about that if that's something that you're interested in. All right, how do you join? Good question, Judy. So I think I already put the link in the description, but if not, I'll go back afterwards and make sure it's there. So there is a link, should be a link in the description if you're interested in joining Beyond the Budget. So questions, guys. I know you guys have questions, and I had about 20 questions that I pulled from Facebook and also from, where else did I get these questions from? From the YouTube chat. Can y'all hear my son in the background crying? I hope not. My husband is holding down the fort in the background. All right, so yeah, I got like 20 questions prepared that I pulled from the Facebook group and from YouTube chat, because I was like, what if nobody shows up and I'm just gonna be on here talking to myself? Let me have some questions prepared just in case like nobody shows up. Okay, y'all can't hear my son in the background screaming. Okay, good. Good. All right, so if you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in. The chat was moving like super fast, and I'm sure I'm gonna miss some of them. Okay, Shakita's saying you can't hear them. Good. Let's see. Where's Mary's? I hope I'm saying this right. I'm just gonna call you Wares. I don't know that I'm pronouncing your handle right. She says, if you retire early, is it wise to withdraw from your Roth IRA? Yeah, you can definitely. That's one of the strategies that I'm actually going to be using, is to use my Roth IRA during those years when I hopefully retire early. And so if you're in the US, you know that with your workplace retirement accounts, you cannot access them. As of right now, the rule is you can't get into them until 59 and a half. And so if you decide that you want to retire at 50, what happens between age 50 and 59 and a half when you can get into your workplace retirement accounts that you've been saving for? So you have to kind of find a way to bridge the gap and have some money to live off of if you decide you want to retire at 50, but you can't get into those accounts until 59 and a half. And so, yes, a Roth IRA is really a great way to kind of diversify yourself with your investments so that you can have money to live off of during those years when, I mean, you can dip into your 401k or your 403b, but you pay some hefty penalties. So I know for myself, that's not something I'm planning to do. All right, so keep your questions coming. Let me grab one from my notes here so that just in case some of these ladies are not here present live, when they look at the replay, they'll see their question answered. So CC says, what keeps you motivated in reaching your financial goals, especially when unforeseen bills or emergencies come up? So, I mean, it can be a difficult one, because if you have any kind of significant amount of debt and it's going to take you some years to kind of get that debt paid off, it's like, I mean, you're going to have some times when you get frustrated. And so for me, what I would say helps me to stay motivated is remembering my why. Why did I start this journey in the first place? And thinking back to those, what Dave Ramsey calls your sick and tired moment, thinking back to that sick and tired moment when it really triggered for you that something needed to change. And so thinking back to that moment and remembering my why, which for me is about legacy. So it's about building that legacy for my kids. You know, unfortunately, a lot of times in communities of color, I'm just going to put it out there, you know, if you come from a background, you're a person of color, a lot of times what I have seen played out is that when people leave this earth, they don't have anything to leave their children. And unfortunately, a lot of times it's like a financial burden to the family where, you know, they're trying to drum up money to bury you and to take care of your final, you know, arrangements and all that, not to get all morbid, but it's just a reality. And I said, for me, that's not something that I want to have happen. And so when I think back to building that financial foundation for my children and wanting to leave a legacy, that's what keeps me motivated a lot of times. Let's see. And in addition to that, I'm also like a visual person. And so it helps for me to have like charts. It helps me to track my net worth, which is something I used to do it every month. And then I started getting like obsessive with it. So I decided to just do it like maybe every couple of months or once a quarter. Looking at my net worth, hopefully continue to go up, is something that also helps to motivate me. And something else that I did when I was paying down my student loan debt is at the end of every month or the beginning of the next month, I would go in and write down my principal balances each and every month. And so I could see from month to month the progress, even though it seemed slow, that I was making. And then gradually, as that debt started to snowball, I was able to see that, number go lower and lower. And then the net worth continue to go higher and higher. So Cece, I hope that answers your question. All right, questions here. Alicia says, how do you budget for a regular income again? You said something about do the average of your checks. Yes, Alicia. So if you're a person who maybe works off of commission, for example, and your paychecks are not the same every single, pay period, what I recommend doing is budgeting based off the average. And so if you look back at the previous 12-month period and you're able to see, okay, well, June was a slow month, depending on what industry you're in. June might have been a slow month, but November was a better month, and you kind of know the ebbs and flows of how your income go. Then what you can do is it doesn't matter whether you had a good month or a bad month, just go based on the average and budget based on that minimum amount that you need to bring in to make your household run appropriately, to make sure that your expenses are covered. All right, other questions. Let's see. So hopefully that makes sense. Vicky says, would you pay off $55,000 in student loans with a home refi, or would you use $100 a month of available funds if I buckle down and do it? I don't know, Vicky. That's like a really specific question. I don't want to give you an incorrect answer, not knowing the full picture. So definitely, if you want to talk offline, that'd probably be a better way to answer that question, because it's a lot of pieces that go into that. Home refinancing, I mean, there are going to be fees associated with that, closing costs, and all those things when you do a home refi, or anything like a home equity line of credit. So it's hard for me to say, without knowing the specifics. So definitely reach out to me offline. I do some one-on-one money coaching as well. If you ever feel like you want to just hop on a call with me one-on-one for 30 minutes, for an hour, whatever, I do offer that service as well. So that's a really specific question that I definitely wouldn't want to give an ill-advised answer like on the fly without the details. Shakita says, what has been your most lucrative side hustle? My current motivation is adapting and saving for the future of my goals. Right now I'm teaching English online. Okay, that's awesome. I hear from a lot of people that is a really lucrative way to make money these days. Like I think it's called VIP Kid and some of these other services that can be really lucrative. For me, my most lucrative side hustle has been also online teaching, but in higher education. So my background has been in healthcare. And so one of the things that I've done over the years is taught online healthcare related courses. I've also taught medical terminology. I've taught at community colleges as well, face-to-face courses. And so that has been one of the ways that I've really been able to generate some additional side hustle money. And so it's a skilled side hustle, because it's not like, just anybody can go and start teaching at the community college. You do have to have certain credentials in order to do that, but it's based on my particular skill set. And so that's one of the biggest things that I tell anybody that asks me about side hustles. Is not necessarily about like looking at what somebody else is doing with their side hustle. You kind of got to hone in on what your unique skills, talents, and interests are in order to figure out what it is you can do to leverage your current experience in order to make additional money. So for me, it was online teaching, and I'm still kind of doing that, like even with my financial coaching and with my YouTube stuff. And sometimes that comes out of my personality because I can get very professorial. I guess that's the word. but that's because I've taught at the college level. And so I get into this mode where I'm kind of like a professor teaching, but I try to turn that off because I don't want to come across as if I'm like lecturing to you guys. But that's just like who I am. And it's a part of what I've done for a lot of years. So teaching online has been my most lucrative side hustle to date. And that's something that I still do. I did get to the point, because I'm a workaholic, where I burned myself out a little bit. I was teaching at like 5 or 6 different schools at one time, plus holding down a full-time job, plus doing YouTube, plus raising my kids and being a wife. And I was just like, girl, you're doing too much, So I had to slow it down. But I do still do some online teaching, and I do really enjoy that. All right, let's go back to one of my other questions here that I pre-prepared, that I pulled off of Facebook. This one's actually from the YouTube community. Let's see. Aaron says, what advice would you give to a 25-year-old looking to start investing? What do you think of Vanguard? And lastly, what tips do you have for traveling out of the country on a budget? So the first question, 25-year-old looking to start investing, start with your workplace accounts. That's pretty much always my advice. Start with what's easy. That's what I call low-hanging fruit. Start with your workplace retirement accounts, your 401k, your 403b. If you have a TSP, go to your HR, find out what it is that they offer, and start saving there. So it's not like sexy investing where you're a day trader, right? And you see like movies like, what is it called, Wall Street, and some of those other movies where papers are flying and people are looking at numbers on boards and all that. That's a lot of times when people think of investing, that's what they think in their minds. But the way to really build long-term wealth is really not that exciting. It's kind of rather, boring. And it's like building that net worth over time by incrementally saving. And so start with your workplace accounts. That's the biggest advice I would give to somebody, especially somebody 25. You could easily be a millionaire in your early 30s, if you do things the right way, as far as building that wealth slowly. It doesn't have to be sexy. It just has to get done. So start with the workplace account. Vanguard, I love Vanguard. I do my index funds with Vanguard. Definitely highly recommend them. And then her last part of her question is, what tips do you have for traveling out of the country on a budget? I don't know. I do a lot of traveling, but I'm not like that travel person that has a lot of hacks. Honestly, if I had more time, I probably would be more into like travel hacking. But the biggest thing for me is just to plan in advance and to cash flow your trips as much as possible, which means basically just putting aside the money in an account. And then I also take advantage of things like, I still do use credit cards. Don't boo me, guys. Um, but I've never had, let me preface that, I've never had an issue with credit card debt, never in my life. And so I do, we'll put routine purchases on my credit cards and pay them off in full and on time every month so that I can get credit card points and get free flights. So, for example, well, this wasn't an out of country trip, but my husband and I went to Phoenix last year in January, and the plane tickets were completely free from credit card points, and I paid no money in interest. Not advocating that anybody does that, putting that disclaimer out there. If you have a problem with credit cards, do not try that. But that's a way where you can get like, credit card rewards or whatever for traveling domestically or out of the country. And another thing is to go all inclusive. I know some people do like the hostels and different things where you could get your housing for really inexpensive, but I have never done that. And for me, the best way when I'm going out of the country is to make sure that I'm doing something all inclusive so that there aren't like too many hidden fees or things that come up. And we went out of the country one time and didn't do all inclusive, and we spent a boatload of money on food, a bunch of money on food. So, just the prices were really expensive, and we didn't realize that until we got there. So, yeah, so that would be my recommendations for traveling out of the country or just traveling on a budget period. Make sure you kind of map out the year. I like to map out my trips about a year in advance. And then that way I have an idea of how much money I have and how far I can make it stretch based on where I want to go. And that was one of my big goals for 2018, was to travel somewhere at least once a quarter. And thankfully we did hit that goal. I didn't necessarily hit all of my other goals the way I wanted to, but travel was big on the list of priorities for me. And I felt like I was okay with kind of taking my foot off the gas just a little bit because I've been grinding hard with this financial freedom journey for a while, and I wanted to just let my hair down a little bit and kind of enjoy life. So travel is big. I'm a big travel junkie, if you didn't already know. All right. Other questions. Let's see. Erica says, if you withdraw from your Roth IRA at age 50, do you pay a fee? No. So the good thing is your Roth IRA contributions are post-tax dollars. So you can make withdrawal, you can take out money from your Roth IRA before 59 and a half and not pay a penalty on it. So you don't have to worry about that with a Roth IRA. So that's one really good tool in your arsenal if you want to retire early. Also, a Roth IRA is really good if you want to pass down wealth to future generations. So to avoid lots of estate taxes and things like that for your children, if you want to leave them money, a Roth IRA is a good way to do that. And I do recommend that everybody have a Roth IRA if possible. And I do know a company that I work with called M1 Finance. They are actually doing a special where if you open a Roth IRA with them in January, they will give you a $25 credit into your account. So if anybody wants that information, you can send me an email and just ask me about the Roth IRA referral program that I know about, and I'll send you an email back. And I'll also go back and edit the description so that if you want that information, I'll include a link as well. So definitely recommend a Roth IRA. Let's see. Judy says, is it wise to pay off your mortgage? It really depends. You know, if you look at the financial freedom blogs and the different YouTube videos on it, it really is a big argument in the personal finance community. For me, I don't see how having a paid off house can ever be a bad thing, but I do realize that it's like an opportunity cost. So if you take all of your discretionary money that you have left over and put it on your mortgage, that's money that you may not have to put into other investments like your retirement, things like that. So it's a trade off. It really depends on what your goal is. Me personally, I want to go into my retired years with a paid off house. I do not want to have a mortgage when I retire. And so I think it's always a good idea if you could pay off your mortgage. But sometimes things can get so tight, and you can also get so like I've seen people get obsessed. And I know I'm one of those type of people that will get obsessed about a goal and go hard paying off the mortgage. And then you don't have anything in your investment accounts because you put everything into the house. And so now the money is all trapped inside of the house, and it's not liquid. You can't access it unless you decide you're going to sell the house. So it's a trade-off. It really depends on your personal situation. Me, I want to have a paid off house when I go into my retired years. All right, let's see. Questions. How do you save for your kids for college? That's from Hey Thelma. So for me, um, right now we have a 529 plan for the kids that we put money in, which is good. If you have access to a 529, in most states, you'll be able to get a deduction on your state taxes, not on federal, but on state taxes if you put money into a 529 in your state. So we do have a 529 plan. So that's one way. But also remember with your 529s that that money has to be used for higher education. So if you only have one child, for example, and you put a lot of money into a 529 plan and your child decides he does not want to go to college, you can't just pull that money out and use it for other stuff. You would get penalized. So the money has to be used for higher education. There are some stipulations, like if you save a bunch of money but your child gets a scholarship, then you can take that money and do other things with it. But it's the rules change, and so definitely check, check on the 529 sites to see what the rules are. But 529 plans are good. Also, you could do custodial brokerage accounts where you do investment accounts for your kids. And another way for me that I'm planning to do is income from rental properties. So I think I like the idea of kind of being diversified with my strategy for saving for the kids for college, because I don't want to put all this money in a 529 plan and then not be able to use it, which I think the odds are kind of low because I have 3 kids. So it's unlikely that none of them would just decide they don't want to go to school. But I like the idea of being diversified. Let's see. Celeste is asking a question about credit repair, working on my credit, but seem to get very slow results or none. Should I continue or do my own credit repair or pay a credit repair service? It really depends. I don't know how dire your situation is. Sometimes, it may be wise to have somebody look at it for you and see the best way to go. But sometimes you got to be leery of some of those services because they can be hidden fees and some places will take advantage of you. The best way I would recommend is look for a program that's at a not for profit. And a lot of times you might get better results with that. Tina says, have you heard of dimensional funds? What are your thoughts on them? No, I don't know what a dimensional fund is, but let me write that down. I don't know. I'm going to look that up. I've not heard of that. Dimensional funds. Not familiar with that. Let's see. Star Style 777 says, what are some side hustles outside of education? Oh, there are tons, but it really depends on what your particular skill set is. So some of the other things that I do personally as side hustles, like YouTube, that's a side hustle. That's something that pretty much anybody with a webcam or a camera, like I started on my webcam for real, on my computer. And so that's something that is not like super lucrative. I don't have a huge channel or anything like that, but I can bring in enough money to pay for my groceries every month. So that's nice if you can get your grocery bill covered. So that's a good side hustle. Blogging is another one. I do also have courses and products that I sell online. I sell t-shirts, other things outside of education. I do coaching. So it really depends on your particular skill set. So typically, if I sit down and I talk with somebody for like 5 minutes and I find out what they're interested in, with their educational background in, I can come up with 4 or 5 side hustles for you. Dolores says, should you pay off debt before saving? Dolores, I get that question a lot and I feel very strongly about it. Not everybody's going to agree with me, but I personally think that it's important to save even while paying off debt. And that might be I know it is. It's contrary to what a lot of personal finance experts say. But for me, I believe that strongly that saving is a habit that we have to develop over time. It's not something that as soon as you become debt free, all of a sudden you're just going to be good at saving. Because if you've been on a debt free journey for a while and you've been paying off debt and throwing all your money there, you might want to splurge a little bit after you're done paying off the debt, and then savings is going to go to the back burner. And those are years that you have potentially lost. So I personally saved while I paid off debt. My one caveat though, if you do have very, very high interest debt, like high interest credit card debt or consumer debt, for example, it it probably doesn't make sense to put money into a savings account or a very low interest bearing savings account instead of throwing that money towards the debt. So if you have really high interest credit card debts and things like that, I would try to throw most of the money towards the debt, with the caveat that you keep a little bit of an emergency fund set aside because emergencies will come up. But beyond that, I do think that it's important to continue to save even while you pay off debt, even if it's $10, $20 a month. Put it on autopilot, automate it, put it into an online savings account, and that money will be there and continue to grow. Continue to put money into your workplace account, at least enough if you can to get the match. And I think that's a good way to go. And of course, there are other situations that are going to be different. Everybody's situation is kind of individualized, but you can't go wrong with developing that habit of savings. All right, let's see. Brandon Scale says, saw your video on FinCon. Oh, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. I liked being able to showcase some other content creators because that's one of the best things for me about going to FinCon, which for those of you who don't know, FinCon is a conference for financial bloggers, vloggers, content creators. And when I went, I really did enjoy it. But the biggest part for me, outside of attending the workshops and learning new ways to edit videos and monetize and things like that, is talking to other content creators and making friends, meeting people that I've been watching on YouTube even before I started my own channel. So that was really fun going to FinCon. D says, thoughts on collection debt and the snowball method. Can you give me a little bit more, D, on what you mean? Thoughts on collection debt in the snowball method. Not sure. Should I pay collection debt or consumer debt first? Well, the probably those things that are in collection, you want to prioritize those first would be my thought. At least to contact them and make some sort of arrangement so that that's not continuing to have negative effects for you moving forward. So I would recommend probably reaching out to those companies and see if you can make some kind of arrangements to get them out of collection and get on a payment plan to repay. But also trying to keep up at least on the minimum payments for your other consumer debts. Hi, single mom, single budget. Hey, hey, everybody coming in. Cynthia says, what is your opinion on career change to increase income, especially for people in their 40s? Wow, that's a good question, Cynthia. It can be tricky because if you, let's say you are in a career where you make $40,000, for example, but then you want to go back to school and you can potentially increase your earning potential. Let's say you can double it to 80, but you have to take out 40, $50,000 or more in school loans, student loans to make that happen. Or you have to cut back to working part-time and then that $40,000 that you were making is now 20. So there's opportunity costs either way where it's a trade-off. If it's something where you're in a career and you just absolutely hate it and you definitely want to pivot and do something different and you can definitely get a good return on your investment with your time and your money, then it's something that you have to consider, crunch the numbers and really see if it's going to make sense for you. But it's not always as simple as black and white as it looks on paper because you might have to scale back your work to go to school and you might not be able to travel as much as you want if you go back to school. So it's definitely a trade-off. But if it's something you really feel passionate about, you kind of got to explore that. Medea says, hey, Nicole, do you feel like this partial government shutdown has opened everyone's eyes to save more than 1K? Yes, Medea. Yes. Absolutely. There are a couple of ladies in my Facebook group right now who are affected by the government shutdown. And it's definitely not a fun situation to be in. That's something that's out of your control where, your paycheck might not be there. I do think that we're living in a time where you just cannot rely on the $1,000 emergency fund. It's a great start. I do recommend that you at least start there if you don't have it. And I don't just brush off the $1,000 because $1,000 is a lot of money for a lot of people. So it kind of upsets me when people are like, oh, just $1,000. And I'm like, you really just don't know how many people I talk to where they are just struggling to get that first $1,000. So don't discount, anybody's efforts. Like I always want to shake people and be like, don't just discourage people from saving their $1,000. Start with 1,000 and get more if you can. So I think it does. I think it has opened people's eyes to the idea that something can happen that's completely out of your control and you're just kind of out there on your own. So if you can have more money in savings, the better. The more money you can have, the better. And so yeah, it's a scary thing for sure. Let's see. Survivor Fan 32 says, hello from Toronto, Canada. Hey, adore your channel. So much information and so entertaining. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. I got a lot of viewers from Canada. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thelma says, I agree with you, saving first. Yes, it has to be, it's a habit that has to be developed. It's something that there are some people that are just naturally good savers, but for a lot of people, you just have to develop that skill over time. It's something you have to teach yourself to do. Hello, Kitty Haynes. This is a question that I pulled from the comments before. What made you choose to be a PA versus an NP, or a physician assistant versus a nurse practitioner? So, hello, Kitty. My answer to that was, for me, when I first learned about the PA profession, I didn't know a lot about nurse practitioners at the time. And I was kind of looking for the quickest thing I could do to finish my education and start making some money. And so for me at the time, it would have been a longer path to be a nurse practitioner because I would have had to go to school to be an RN first. Whereas I could come in from getting my prerequisites undergrad and go right into a PA program and graduate and be a PA. And so for me, it was a shorter path to get to that career goal. And so that was really my main reason. I think if you're already, no, let me take that back. I do know some RNs or some folks that were RNs first and then decided to go to PA school instead of a nurse practitioner program because the programs differ. The educational model is completely different. And so there are some benefits and disadvantages depending on which way you want to go. But it's a more natural route to be a nurse practitioner when you're already a nurse first. And I wasn't a nurse. All right. Back to questions here from the chat. I'm trying to keep up. um, let's see. K Red 06, hi Nicole, just saw you were on live. I was surprised. I like this. Well, thank you so much. I was just telling everybody when I first came in, like, I don't do live, y'all. Like, I don't like stuff that I perceive as being out of my control, which all of it's really out of my control. I can't control nothing, right? I can barely control myself. But it's kind of like that sense of I can kind of control things more when I'm sitting down in my room with my camera. And if I say something that I don't like, and I'll actually laugh at myself, like, what are you saying? That didn't even make sense. And I'll cut the camera off and delete the clip and I can start over. But when you're live, you don't really have that opportunity to do that. So that's been one of my fears of falling flat on my face, something not going right, sounding like an idiot. It's just like irrational stuff that happens. But I'm trying to get out of my head and just be more present for you guys. So I hope to do more of these. Let's just say that. All right. And if you got questions for everybody coming in, drop them in the comments. I don't know if I'll get to all of them, but keep the questions coming. All right, back to my notes. Other questions. Bravey Baby says, if you haven't already addressed this because I'm new to the channel, how to build basic knowledge and start investing when you have no clue about the subject and are leery of hiring help. That's a good question. Books. I mean, almost 100% of what I know about personal finance is from books. I don't have any kind of formal background in finance. I'm not a CFP. I've always liked numbers, liked money. In high school, oddly enough, my mother put me into a program called the Academy of Finance in high school. So I took accounting, I took international finance, I took all these kind of classes in high school, but found them completely boring, just was like dialed it in. I found like I was good at accounting, but I thought it was boring at the time. And I was like, I don't want to do this. And for me, I was like, I want to get into a career where I'm going to be able to make some money right away. Not to say you can't make money in accounting, but for me, it was healthcare. And then it turns out if I had gone with my passion, who knows where I would have ended up. But I ended up in healthcare, which I enjoy, is lucrative, but it's not absolutely my passion. So it's interesting that I ended up here with a personal finance channel, right? But anyway, back to your question, Bravey. The question is how to build basic knowledge and start investing. So reading books, definitely books. I recommend that you start read blogs, learn information for yourself. When you're looking at your 401k statement and you don't know what something is, you don't know what a term is, look it up. So start reading. And there's nothing wrong with hiring help. In the beginning, I even still work with a financial professional that my husband and I worked with, that we started the very first year we got married, and that was almost 15 years ago. And we still work with him. And he actually said to me, you should go back to school and be a certified financial planner. This is something you should be doing. And I was like, I don't know, Scott, I don't know about that. But it was nice that he said that to me. Like, this is something that you could do for real. This is, something you're gifted at. So just learn, be, self-motivated, get some books, read. And if you have to hire somebody until you're comfortable with doing your own investments, then do that. Work with somebody, but do it on do it where it's a situation where you're paying them a one-time flat fee, as opposed to them getting a percentage based on how much money your portfolio makes, if that makes sense. So you want to pay them a flat fee. That's the one thing I recommend. Mrs. WW says, hello, everyone. I'm super late. No worries. It was kind of like a last minute kind of thing. You'll be able to go back and watch the replay. I'll do a better job of advertising in the future when I do these lives. Jaren says, is it ever okay to take out a loan to buy a home multi-unit? Yes, absolutely. It depends on the person, the personal situation, but yeah, definitely. That's something that could potentially bring you a lot of passive income in the future. So multi-unit is great. That's something I'm actually looking into as well, to be able to get a multi-unit property, and that's something that I could use to help cash flow my kids' college, or at least the portion that I'm willing to cover. I already told my kids. My oldest is 10, but she already know we are not paying 100% of your college. You will have to do some work. You do need to work to try to get some scholarships. We'll help you as much as possible. But I'm not willing to sacrifice my retirement to go broke trying to pay for these three kids to go to school. And if that makes me a bad parent, I don't think it does. But then so be it. But I just told them now, even at 10, she understands that you need to work hard and do some of the stuff for yourself, because daddy and mommy might not be able to do all of it for you. And I think it helps the kids to have some skin in the game. If they know that mom and dad is covering everything, why should they work hard to do anything? All right, let's see. Hello from Georgia. Hey. All right. Gina says, I am also considering purchasing rental property in DMV area. Any insight on specific areas to make a first purchase? That's a good question. Specifically, I don't know. I mean, the DMV area varies so greatly. My my rental property is technically just outside of it's in Virginia, but it's kind of like not in the immediate DMV area. It's kind of like Southern Virginia. And I live right now, I'm in Central Maryland, and I grew up in Baltimore, if you can't tell from the accent. Any insights, specific areas to make a first purchase? No specific insights. I would say just make sure that it's something that you can cover comfortably if you have a vacancy. So that's something a lot of people don't consider. Something could happen and somebody breaks the lease, or somebody decides they don't want to pay you rent, and you still have to cover the mortgage. So make sure that is something that's going to be comfortable. As far as like specific geographic area, it really depends. I'd say do your homework and make sure that you know the area really well. Talk to realtors in the area, people that live in the area. Scope out the area on off times. Go past there early in the morning and late in the evening, and kind of see what things look like. Medea says, Nicole, for the accountability class program that you offer, which starts this week, are there any one-on-one sessions, or are 90% of the meetings on a group level? Thank you. Medea, so for the accountability group that I started, it's called Beyond the Budget for those who joined late. The link is in the description if you're interested in checking it out. So it's a group coaching program where everybody's kind of moving through a specific program as a group, as a cohort. It's not really a cohort because people can come in and out. It doesn't have to be something where you have to start in January. So if you decide you want to join in April, you can come in and you'll see all the content from January, February, and March, and then onward. So those sessions are group sessions, but I do offer one-on-ones. I do offer one-on-one coaching. And if you're a part of the group program, it is $10 a month right now. If you are, which I think is an absolute steal, $10, we blow that on whatever, coffee, or you could barely get a meal at McDonald's for $10. And so with the $10 program, what you do is you get live monthly coaching calls as a group. You get also pre-recorded content. You get access to workshops. You get all kinds of resources and templates that I have inside of the course. And I do give a discount if you want a one-on-one session. You get a discount if you're a member of the group program. So no specific one-on-ones with the $10 a month program, but if you are in the accountability group and you want to add a one-on-one session, you do get a discount. Thelma says, um, Thelma says, how many sinking funds do you recommend? I recommend, Thelma, just starting off with something that's going to be comfortable for you. In the beginning, a lot of people get gung-ho, myself included, and I had too many. So I would say start with 2 to begin with. First off is dining out, which I find is like the area where people struggle almost the most as far as their like regular household spending. They spend way too much money on the dining out, myself included. I've been there as well. And so I would pick the 2 areas where you find that you struggle the most in overspending when you swipe. And so again, for a lot of people, it's food, and it's either groceries, dining out, and it's personal spending. So the random, okay, I need a new makeup palette, I need new shampoo and conditioner, even though I got 4 bottles under my sink. kind of situation. Start with those two first, or whatever two areas that you struggle with the most, and then add on from there. But I like the idea of a Christmas sinking fund. That's something that we know comes around every year. And it's, it's a travesty that so many of us are unprepared when it comes around, or have to want to put in a bunch of purchases on credit cards. Wow, this time has gone by so quick, guys. All right. I'm keeping it rolling though. Drummer Girl says, any thoughts on paying for private school versus public school? It depends. I know I keep saying it depends, but it really does. Depends on the area that you live in. Me, I'm in Central Maryland, so I'm just outside of Baltimore. A lot of the schools are not great. And so for me and my husband, we made it a priority to move to a county where the schools are better, they rank higher, but the housing prices are astronomical. And so we live in a expensive house that's more expensive than I would necessarily like. But when we sat down and did the numbers, like if we buy in a county where it's cheaper, the houses are cheaper, and we put all three kids, or at the time we just had two, but now we have three, put all three kids now in private school, the numbers just didn't make sense. It made more sense for us to buy into a neighborhood where the houses were more expensive, but the public schools were better. And then later, when the kids are a little bit older, we can sell the house because these houses maintain their value pretty well. We can sell the house and buy a house in cash if we want, once the kids are kind of, at least the two older ones, the girls, are on their way to, off to college or whatever. So it depends, but you got to crunch the numbers for yourself. For us, it just didn't make sense to put three kids in private school to try to buy a house in a less expensive neighborhood. Hola, everyone. Jamonica says, hello, hello, welcome, welcome. All right. I know I saw another question. Somebody was asking, Alicia. Alicia says, is it too late to pay my $10 for BTB? BTB is Beyond the Budget. That's the accountability group. Nope, it's not too late. There's a link in the description. If any of you guys are here, want to join, you definitely can. The first live session is actually this upcoming Wednesday. We're doing a goal setting and mindset workshop. And we're going to talk about all the things that have prevented you from making progress, possibly with your financial goals this year. So if you're interested, definitely check the link in the description. And actually, let me pull the link. Let me pull the link now and post it in the chat. And if you want to join, you definitely can join us. It's going to be open enrollment pretty much all year. So if it's not in your budget, believe me, girl, I understand. If it's not in your budget this month, you can definitely join in February. You can join in March. Let me get the link. So I would love to have some of you guys there. If you like this format, if you like this sort of Q&A session that we're doing, we're going to be doing this every single month, and we're going to have a specific theme for each month. So one month, we're going to be talking all about how to generate more income, side hustles. Another month, we're going to be talking about frugal living. We're going to be talking about how to be a smart, intentional spender. All of us do some spending. And so that's something I'm going to cover. We're going to have an entire month dedicated just to investing. And so this is a 12-month minimum program. I mean, it's $10 a month, but you can cancel at any time. There is an option if you want to pay for the entire 12 months up front. You can save, I think it's like $21 or something, by paying for the whole 12 months up front if you want. But it's something I think you definitely get your money's worth out of. If you're a person that has struggled with saying that you wanted to do something with your money and you were not able to do it, and you need that accountability, that's, to me, I think is the most important part, because we're going to be using a platform where I'm going to actually be able to see your goals written out. I'm going to be able to have access to it. You'll be able to have access to it. And what will happen is I'll be able to track your progress on your goals each and every single month, the goals that you set up, the goals that we set up together as a group. And so definitely check it out, guys. I just dropped the link in the description, in the chat, if you want to check it out. All right, back to questions. KRUD06 says, to learn more about investing, I'm reading books. Books you suggested on your site, and looking for free or low fee classes or seminars in my community on investing in retirement. Awesome. 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 Definitely reading. The library is completely free. There are so many books in that personal finance section. If you decided you wanted to read every book in your personal finance section in your library, you wouldn't have enough time. All right. Beth H says, I freelance edit as a side hustle. I make $100 to $300 a month. Is it better to put that money towards student loan debt or sinking funds? Does it even matter? Beth, I think it depends where you can get the best bang for your buck. If your student loan debt is, depends on the interest rates, but I would probably, split the difference, maybe do both. Maybe do both because I think having the sinking funds honestly helps with your cash flow because if you have, let's say, Christmas is coming up, that you have to pay a big, $2,000 amount for your kids for summer camp like I do. Or you have these big expenses that come up periodically throughout the year. It makes sense to save for them incrementally, which is basically what a sinking fund is. So that way, when June comes around and you have to pay for summer camp, you're not trying to struggle to figure out how to pay for it and just slap down a credit card. And so having the sinking funds helps with your cash flow. So I like that idea. But at the same time, if you could put something extra onto those student loans and, especially if you have higher interest rates, I think that helps. Let's see. Vicky says sink money into Christmas, birthdays, unexpected medical copays, auto repair, vehicle registration. Absolutely. I saved $1,600 last year by cash flow on my fast food Friday activity. All right, awesome. Juliana says, as I live outside of the US, some of the options you've mentioned, such as Roth IRA, 401k, isn't something that is available in my country. I will be doing research locally. Absolutely. And for anybody, I know several of you guys are from Canada and from, other parts, other countries outside of the US. And some of the terminology doesn't make sense for you, but there may be equivalent options in your own country that you can definitely research and see if that could be beneficial for you. All right, we'll answer a few more questions. Colors of Avon. This is a question from the YouTube chat. Love your tips. How do I resist buying more when I'm saving for the long term? Put some accountability in place. Colors of Avon. Put some accountability in place. If you say that you don't want to do something, I use this example myself. Personal finance, money stuff. I'm a money nerd. I'm kind of like, that's my strong area. That's an area where I'm pretty good with, right? So I don't struggle as much with that as far as the need for accountability. But one of my goals over the past 2, 3, 4 years, 5, maybe more, has been to get more physically fit, start exercising, and also to focus on self care. I failed miserably at that the last 3 years. And I finally said to myself, the reason why I'm failing is because I don't have any accountability in this area. So reach out to people who are stronger in those areas where you're weak. So I reached out to my sister who is working on her personal, what do you call it? Personal trainer certification. And she's really fit. She has 3 kids like I do. And I was like, look, girl, I need to get this together. This is my baby sister. I need to get it together. I need you to help me out. And so she's going to hold me accountable when, she's going to check in on me and say, did you do what you did? I put together this program for you. Are you doing working a program? And so she can tap me on my shoulder and say, hey, what's up? And if you're a person that struggles with impulse shopping, you need some safeguards in place and somebody that could tap you on your shoulder and say, hey girl, what's up? Did you stay out of, the department store? Did you stay off of Amazon this month? And so that's a lot of what, hey, Colors of Avon, oh, you're here. You're welcome. And so that's what I recommend. And that's a part of the reason why I started the group is because I know it's not just about getting more information. If information alone was going to do it, like all of us would be millionaires right now. By the time I go back and think about all the books I've read, all the blogs I've read, all the videos you binge watch on YouTube, like that's good stuff. But if you never make that transformation for yourself and your own finances, you're just basically, it's another way of consuming. You're just consuming things, but you're not making that transformation in your own finances. And so that's why I think accountability is so big. And that's part of the reason why I started the accountability group. And so some people might be like, girl, why are you charging for the group? Look, these platforms cost money. My blog costs money to maintain. And what I found was that I like helping people, but I was having to dip into my own pocket to, pay for resources, to pay for a webinar platform and all these different things. So I needed to offset my costs as well. A girl is frugal, so I had to make it make sense for me financially as well. And so I think the cost is low enough where it's like a no brainer. I mean, $10 a month, we kind of blow that on coffee, on McDonald's, on Wendy's. I get a smoothie and it costs me $6. So if $10 could help you, $10 a month can help you go from like not keeping up with your goals to actually sticking to your goals every month because I'm gonna be checking on you, then that's $10 well spent, I think. So it's not gonna be for everybody. Some people who don't need that level of accountability, you can hit your goals. But for a lot of us, we need that extra tap on the shoulder to say, hey, get it together. This is where you want to go. Now, what are you doing in between to make sure that it works for you? All right, questions. Let's see. Couple more. Doris. All right. Doris is in my Facebook group and she's been watching my videos for a while. I don't know if Doris is here. Doris says, hi, Nicole. What advice would you give someone who wants to start a YouTube channel? What would you do differently now that you are established on this platform? How do you feel about your family, friends, and coworkers watching you and knowing more about your personal life? P.S. I am a very private person and an introvert. Thank you. And I love your channel. You are an inspiration. God bless you and your lovely family. Doris, thank you so much. Okay, let's start with the first part. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start a YouTube channel? Just get it started, Doris. Just do it. I'm telling you, I'm the type of person, as y'all know, if you've been watching me, Doris, I know for a while, I'm the type of person that overthinks things and I want it to be perfect the first time out the gate. I don't want to look back at something I did and see mistakes. But you got to get out of your own head and just do it. So that's number one. Just go ahead and do it. And it might not be great the first time. I went and looked. Tina says, gotta log off. Love this. Love your channel. Thank you so much. And you can come back and watch the rest on replay. We'll be wrapping up like probably in the next 10 minutes too, because I want to respect everybody's time as well. So Doris, just go ahead and started my first few videos. I look back at them. I'm like, what was I talking about? I was rambling. I don't even know, but it's something I'm glad I did it because it was so outside of my comfort zone. And I look back on it and to be here now and, people showing up live and liking my videos and watching, I get emails from people that say, you changed my life. I was able to do this, or, I've been able to focus more on my money. I started saving because of you. I opened up a Roth IRA because of you. Like that just touches me to the core. Like that touches my heart. And so seriously, just do it. Even if your video is not gonna be about personal finance, there's gonna be somebody out there that is struggling with something that you have the answers to that they can learn from you. So just go ahead and get started. So get out of your own head, Doris, and go ahead and do it. And even if you're not good at it and you don't think you know the tech stuff, you'll learn on the go and you'll get better at it. What would I do differently? I would have monetized a little better starting out because I got into this frenzy where I was buying cameras and equipment and Diva ring lights and all this stuff, and I was paying out of pocket for it. So if I could have offset some of my expenses a little bit earlier on, I would have done that. I would have done so. I would have started my email list sooner as well. How do I feel about family and friends, coworkers watching? I got my husband's a pastor. I got church members that watch. My grandmother told me she was watching. I was like, Lord, let me think back. Did I say anything crazy? But coworkers found out about it. I was on a podcast, and for a while, I was just not using my like real name. It's not like I was going anonymous, but I wasn't saying my name like that, my full name. But I was on a podcast, and they didn't really ask me if they could use my full name, but I didn't tell them they couldn't. And people started finding me in my blog because of that. And so, at first I was like, oh no, I kind of cringed that people at work know. And, but I feel like almost everybody can learn something from this. I've had people that I've worked with come up to me and say, hey, I just watched your video on X, Y, and Z. How did you do that? Can you help me? And so I'm happy that people are watching it. I'm a private person too. Unbeknownst to probably most of you, I am an introvert. I refer to myself as a house cat. I'm a house cat. I'm an introvert. I'm not like a super big people person. If I'm in a room with 50 people, I'm probably over in the corner talking to one person or just chilling by myself. So even if you're an introvert, go ahead and do it. I say do it. And then I'll answer one more question from here and the last ones that are in the chat, and we'll call it a night, guys. Um, let's see. I saw another good one. Ooh, Modern Minimalist Mom says, "What is your retirement dream?" That's a really good one. My retirement dream. Retirement dream is to retire significantly early than what is the norm in most cultures, especially here in the US. And so retire early, be able to retire early enough where I'm still healthy to travel. I would love to have a house somewhere in a warm climate, maybe somewhere like Phoenix, where I can go there on off months from Maryland when it's cold here. I can go there, January through whatever, maybe May, and enjoy good weather there, and then travel somewhere else. Have a house somewhere else that I live in another 6 months out of the year. I would love to be able to do work that I enjoy. So it's not necessarily about not having to work because I'm a workaholic. So that would be sort of counterintuitive for me. It wouldn't be comfortable for me, but to do work that I enjoy on my own terms. So that would be big for me. And to be able to travel and help my kids out when I can and leave a legacy for them when my time is up on this earth. That's pretty much my dream. Vicky says, just joined the academy for the year. Amen. All right, Vicky. I look forward to working with you. She says, I don't mind paying for accountability and family isn't on board with my journey. So here I am. All right. I look forward to working with you. Um, Terry Cox says, love, I'm a house cat. Yes, I call myself a house cat all the time. I'd much rather, like, from here on up, I had to put a little bit of makeup on my face, but the waist down, I got my pajamas on. That's just, I'm a house cat. If I can stay in my pajamas all day in the house, I'm gonna stay in my pajamas all day in the house. Read a book, watch some Netflix. That's just who I am. All right. Tanisha says, is it wise to invest in real estate while saving? Let's see. Wise to invest in real estate while saving. I don't, let's see. Yes. I mean, I think it's always wise to invest in real estate. I would take a look at maybe if you have debt still, that would be the big thing to see if, maybe you should clear that first before you invest in real estate. But I think investing in real estate is a great way to diversify. I think the stock market is great, don't get me wrong, but real estate is very solid and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So I love the idea of investing in real estate. All right, guys. So any last questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna be wrapping it up here. We are at an hour and 15 minutes almost. I want to respect everybody's time. I thank you guys for coming out. And any final questions? And also, would you guys like me to do more of these lives more often? The heebie-jeebie says, would you make retirement plan allotment more conservative during this downturn? Good question. Excellent question. Me personally, no. I'm actually getting more aggressive with my investments during the downturn. I'm getting more aggressive with my investments. But that's also because even though I want to retire early, I'm only 38 years old. So I still have quite a ways before I would be hopefully, physically unable to work, barring any unforeseen circumstances. But I'm actually getting more aggressive during the downturn. And that's just me personally. I think if you're closer to retirement and you plan to retire soon, you might not be able to weather a significant downturn, and you probably should get more conservative. But it really depends on where you are on your journey and when you plan to retire. All right, everybody's saying yes, more live. Yes, please. Thank you for doing this. Yes, yes, more live sessions. You did a great job. Thank you, Tracy. Um, Devaki, I hope I'm saying your name right. Patel says, thanks, Nicole. Yes, Nicole, I'd love to have you do a live at least once a week or every 2 weeks. Yes, do more live. Enjoy it very much. Looking good, girl. Thanks, Dolores. Yes. Um, HeebieGB says, thanks for saying it's a good question. Yes, excellent question. Tanya says, I'm a teacher and have a pension. I do have a 401k and 403b. Should I still have a Roth? Yes. Yes, 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 Tanya. Please do. Yes. Absolutely. If you can, even if you don't max it all the way out, they just increased it. The IRS just increased it. You could put in $6,000 every year now into your into your Roth, and they increased the amount you can contribute into your 401k and 403b as well. So yes, I would do both. I do both. Cassie says yes. More live sessions saying hey from Baltimore. Hey, this was great. Thank you. To Butterfly 35 says, I asked two questions above. I'll email you to address in the future. Thank you, Butterfly, Purple Butterfly 35. Sorry I missed them. This chat was like moving fast, y'all. Oh, Devaki, okay, I said your name right. All right. Are the books you recommend on your blog? Yes. Yes, they are. I do. If you go to my blog, if you go to any blog post on my blog, in the right sidebar, you'll see a book. It's like a stack of books. It's a picture. If you click on that, it says books I recommend. And sorry I missed your questions, Purple Butterfly. The chat was moving like super fast. I'm sure I missed more questions, but I'll go back and put them into the next one. All right, guys, thank you so much. I can hear my husband downstairs with the kids. They're getting riled up, so probably time I end this. But thank you guys so much. I wasn't as nervous as I thought I would be. So thank you so much. If you guys have friends that need some financial help, family members, send them my way, send them a link to one of my videos, send them to my blog, share on your Facebook page. If you haven't joined my free group, if you're not down with the $10 a month accountability group or it's not in your budget and you just want to do something for free, join the free Facebook group and also get on my free newsletter. Thank you guys so much. Check out, Colors of Avon says, love the car chats too. Hopefully I'll have some more of those coming soon. And again, there's the link if you want to check out the Beyond the Budget Accountability Group. Thank you guys so much. And until next time, live well and be blessed.